the Mayo Experience.
That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to a very special edition of the Pat Mayo Experience. Week 12, a.k.a. Thanksgiving only picks against the spread. No Survivor, obviously, a Pilgrim Parlay, and Cust Corner mini. It's not like we're not going to have our regular Week 12 show. That will be coming out like it always does on Wednesday morning, or if you sub to the newsletter, you'll get it on Tuesday evening, right after we record it, and it is ready. So that's why you should always sub to the newsletter. Additionally, there are two DraftKings Listeners Leagues this week. One we have for Thanksgiving only. It's a 3-max $30, only 1,000 spots, still $5,000 to the winner. There's no rake. And then the regular Week 12, only 2,000 spots this week. You know, we had 3,000 to split up between the two, and this is how I decided to allocate the entire endeavor. That one's still $15 to play per normal. So hit the description and get both of those right now. Hope everyone is off to a nice week. I'll bring in Geoff right now. Geoff, you're under the weather. How do we have any holidays that land on a Thursday? I don't feel like we do, but like holiday weeks in general, I don't know how I would manage this. Be like, oh yeah, there's a holiday on Thursday. Obviously, I'm not working on Friday. Like, do you work really hard Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday? Or you're like, fuck this.
If I'm working for the man, it's pretty much fuck this from go. If I'm working for myself, yeah, I'd probably try to get a productive Monday, Tuesday in before Wednesday just feels like, the exciting day before a holiday. I guess that would be it, but probably total fuck this from go on a Monday for me on a holiday week.
Well, I know that the coin feels the same way, as does Paul, but I guess we need to get the weight of a man coming off an Emmy-worthy performance on PME Sunday Night Live. We saw the tears. We saw the raw emotion. It is Tim Undercust.
Tim Undercust.
That's not my name. I don't know that I agree with anything you just said there.
Well, let's start with what you don't agree with.
I don't think it was an Emmy-worthy performance. I was annoyed. I expressed my annoyance. I felt good about that. We move forward. Won my free money.
Yes.
That's a very good thing to roll into this part. As people know, Thanksgiving week, I have a long tradition of hitting the Pilgrim Parlay and the Sunday after. To hit the Sunday before and have a real chance at a back-to-back-to-back free money and to get into the black for free money for the year. Like, that's a really excellent opportunity. We're almost there as it is. So, this is a really excellent opportunity here.
Now, Geoff, when he says that he has a long history of doing this, he did it once in 8 years.
Well, lest we forget, Pat.
We would never want to forget that.
Everything about Thanksgiving lives for a real long time. His one win in 8 years, some Falcons game that they lost by like 30. But
that game was a lot closer than people remember it being. That's a lot closer than people ever remember it being, too. Anyway, I know you're mocking me, but
it was not close. It was never close.
It was actually. American Thanksgiving is a fun.
Hold on. I don't know how good your memory is. As pointed out on last week's show when we were talking about the Buffalo-Cleveland game, you were like, yeah, remember a few years ago when there was that 8-0 Buffalo-Cleveland game? Someone fact-check that. Happened in 2006.
7.
Sorry.
That's a few years ago.
That's 15 years ago.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, I don't know if that's right, whatever.
Though. I was right. Buffalo and Cleveland continue to play weird games. This one had to be taken to a neutral site. I stand by that. Those two teams only play weird games.
Okay. Geoff, do you have tiers prepared for this show following the Sunday Night Football loss of the Los Angeles Chargers? It's funny because we did a bit on the Sunday Night Live show about the 5 quarterbacks that you would want for a game-ending drive. I mean, they had timeouts and they scored really quickly. But Mahomes was number 1 on that list for all of us except for Tim, who still had Brady.
Yeah, no tears. I have to be emotionally invested to cry. And I never believed we were going to win, so I never allowed myself to get excited about winning. And I don't know, there's just like 4 stupid things that my dipshit, dickless coach, fucking phony.
It's funny. Geoff and I are in the exact opposite position. My team has a fantastic defense, and the offense is garbage and is killing us. Geoff's team has a very, very good offense. his defense is one of the very worst in the NFL. Like, do I have to watch Derwin James get destroyed down after down again by Kelsey before they think maybe we shouldn't put Derwin on Kelsey anymore? He's not good
You're
enough
not
to
even
cover.
watching the game. Kelsey made one catch on Derwin. It's when we put other people on Kelsey that
Derwin did not cover himself in glory last night, to say the least.
I don't even know what you're looking at. The stat line shows Derwin on Kelsey was amazing for like 90% of the plays. It's when we let Kelsey go to other players. But you don't even know what you're talking about. You worry about your quarterback who throws for negative 20 fucking.
Yeah, my defense sucks. My defense is great, and your defense is terrible.
Okay.
Your offense is great.
But you don't even know. But now
terrible.
you're just speaking misfacts. It's when they try to put other players on Kelsey.
Derwin's having a bad year. He made the critical mistake last night to kill them on defense when he couldn't cover Kelsey, and he misread the play. And he did. He misread the play on defense. He didn't know what he was doing out there. He misread it, and Kelsey beat him.
Kelsey beat Derwin James on a play. Derwin James covers Kelsey as good as anyone in the league. I'm not like you turning this. Yeah, here you go again, turning this into something that's ridiculous. Go chalk to Travis Kelsey, who covers him better than anyone in the league. Problem is not when Derwin James is on Kelsey. Is Derwin James going to bat 1,000 on Kelsey? No. But the problem is when other people get put on Kelsey, and you can go look at the stats. Last night, it's right in plain front. I apologize, you just remember like one play from highlights, like your mom watching Sports Center, but that's not
I did watch the Chargers give up a lot of touchdowns last night.
They did. Right. They're not very good. They don't stop on defense. But you thinking it's like that Derwin James?
Derwin's a problem. He's a problem, not the problem, but he's a problem.
Holy shit! Okay,
Geoff, you know what he's trying to do here, right? He's trying to get you going because the past week has not been good for Tim. Is not the most insane person.
Yeah,
from his ice takes to crying about the Jets. Like, it's been a rough week for the campaign.
Yeah, I'm not taking any of his bait. This is a struggle bust, and sort of like I said last week before I slapped myself in the face, it's very predictable. Chargers are going to finish the season strong. They're going to miss the playoffs. They're going to look great in their last 3 games, and they're going to save people's jobs. It's really annoying. It's really annoying.
Are you taking any sort of satisfaction this morning that Melvin Gordon got cut?
Yeah, I took satisfaction when he fumbled. I take satisfaction to see him get cut. Sure.
What if he ends up on the Chargers?
Whatever. I mean, it'll just be another guy to fumble in a clutch situation. We have enough of those already, don't we?
Maybe they need to figure out like, there's a lot of heat on Keenan Allen. Maybe if we bring in Mel G, all of a sudden he can take the heat off Keenan Allen. He actually had a pretty nice game. That pass at like to get up by the field goal was really nice, by the way. Or get up by 4, I suppose it was.
Yeah, it's all. Oh my God, it's like, why don't they just let Herbert throws? Like, just let him throw deep. Maybe you get play at pass interference. Maybe you make a penalty. I don't know. It's really weird. I still can't believe my dickless fucking coach wanted to flip the field versus Patrick Mahomes on like a 3rd and 1/4 inch. Okay? And then before the half, we're at the goal line. It's 2nd and a freaking inch, and he pushes it, chips it, fucking chucks it backwards. You stupid fuck.
Has he been bullied out of going for it on 4th down?
I have no idea.
I don't know what was going on there.
I have no idea, Pat. But this guy to go for that play versus Cleveland and then to not go for these ones, I have no idea. I don't know. I'm so frustrated with this SOB. This fucking Johnny Knoxville / Gremlin looking fucker. I don't know. It's so disheartening to see what he said after the game about momentum, defense. Shut up.
Garion is asking the tough questions on Twitter at the moment, Tim, of whether the U.S. men's national team is going to outscore the Jets in this game.
I think there's a good chance of it.
What's the score of the USA game? We're filming this
1-0 for the United States at the moment.
I believe it's
good.
I believe it's pronounced 1-0. I heard that.
Yeah, I hope they do. My team had the worst offensive performance I think in NFL history without a turnover. I think it would be hard to have
Dude,
a worse game than that.
You're on a Jamarcus Russell meets Johnny Manziel trage.
Oh,
okay.
Tell me about it. It's not good.
Like
It's
you were
very
calling
bleak.
for Trevi in the CFL, buddy. Your boy's on a one-way to the CFL, and that's only because The Rock and the XFL said pass.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think you're being too kind. I actually think that there's a real chance Zach doesn't play this week. Not guaranteed, but I think there's a real chance.
Salah came out and said, "Hey, Zach Wilson is our."
I don't think it's
quarterback."
Salah's. I don't think it's. I don't. At this point, I don't think it's Salah's call.
Whose call is it?
I think it's Joe Douglas's call.
You know, I have to agree because I never would have thought it would get here. To me, like the Jets make the playoffs, they'll make the playoffs. See what you have in Zach is like priority one. But they're in the second half of that football game tied. And if they win, they get first place. Like at that point, like development is important and crucial. And you'll never really hear me poo-poo on it. But at some point, I'll be like, we could be in first place if we can win this game.
Their playoff odds went from like 80% with a win to like 30% with a loss.
You have an obligation to them. Like Zach Wilson controls people's jobs, like in the building. Like livelihoods are being controlled by Zach Wilson. Scary thought.
And
Scary
apparently,
thought.
the
You got to
defense
feed
is
your family
furious.
based on Zach Wilson making a first down at this moment.
The defense has not taken kindly to his petulant, childish comments, and it's ripping the team apart. Not surprising. Another reason why I don't know that he can start any more games if Salah wants to keep a job. He could lose the team. He could lose the locker room. Like this is a critical juncture right now, and I'm very interested to see how things go because, like, I think sticking with Wilson could very well lose the locker room for Salah.
Tim, how is your first experience with a Gen Z quarterback going?
Depressing. Everything you think it was going to be and worse. Awful. Distressing. But now I'm over all those feelings. Now I know that he's not the future, and like I spent good time last night because I couldn't sleep looking at Derek Carr's numbers.
Oh my God! You don't want. I'm telling you, I get that you can look, you can stare Jimmy G maybe, but you can stare at Derek Carr's numbers as long as you want. Just know that when the game is on the line, it's going to go very poorly if you have Derek Carr.
What about Brady?
No, as much as I think that would be cool, he's not leaving Florida, in my opinion, to go play in New York in the cold anymore. He's a retiree. He moved to Florida to get out of the cold, Jeff.
He could go to Vegas.
And he was going to go to Miami.
No, there's the rumor that he's going to go to San Francisco for a year next year.
Then you know what? Jimmy G can come to New York. Derek Carr can come to New York. If Green Bay would ever trade him, Rodgers would be great in New York. Kyler would be great. The Jets have cap room, and I'm sure the Cardinals would love to get out of that contract. And like, how much worse could we do? If Baltimore can't figure things out with Lamar, give him, everything and then some. Obviously, Zach Wilson can't start next year, and this team obviously has an excellent defense and some core pieces on offense. Get a quarterback who isn't the absolute nut low, and you are the favorite to win the division. Like, it's that simple.
Yeah, you have to make the change right now. We talked about this on the recap show, but their defense is, I don't want to say their defense is good enough to win a Super Bowl, but we've seen teams like this before. That if you just had someone competent at quarterback, this defense does feel like it's good enough to carry them in games they're not supposed to win.
Mm-hmm.
Their defense is good enough to win a Super Bowl. Like,
it's on par with the Jets defenses that got the 2 championship games in early 2010s.
It's a top 8 defense, and that's probably being too conservative. So to me, that defense is good enough to win a Super Bowl. Now, it's not going to be able to beat Burrow, Tua, Allen, Mahomes in back-to-back games.
No chance.
It's just not. But
it could win one of those games. It could win 2 of those games. If you had, a Mark Sanchez type, like, is Mark Sanchez just Jimmy G?
I don't know, but
I would take Mark Sanchez back in a heartbeat right now.
I watched Rex Ryan go off this morning on Zach Wilson, and he referenced Mark Sanchez like 9 times. Like, Mark Sanchez would take a bullet for anybody. Mark Sanchez screwed up, or someone else screwed up. It had nothing to do with Mark Sanchez's fault. Mark Sanchez would stand on that podium and take accountability. I guess like a lot of quarterbacks. Yeah, I watched The Ringer this morning. Like, Pat, you were talking about what story A would be, the A block. It was Zach Wilson.
And
the A block today was Zach Wilson. I swear to you, I did the loop.
Are you talking about The Ringer, Johnny Knoxville movie starring your head coach? Which I don't think is socially appropriate anymore, Geoff.
No, it is socially appropriate. I used to call them women. Right? We had Ellen DeGeneres, we had Octavia Spencer. I said that is demeaning.
No, I meant the movie The Ringer.
I don't think I minded that. No, which one am I thinking of? Walking Tall with The Rock and Johnny Knoxville?
Yeah, that one's pretty good. The Ringer with
that
Johnny Knoxville is where he pretends to compete in the Special Olympics.
Oh shit.
I don't think that's gonna fly in 2022. It also wasn't good, so there's that part of it too. But yeah, I mean, this is the talk. They were so bad. So bad.
Indefensible. With again, such a marvelous defense. And like the Patriots offense is just as bad. And they were trying to give the game away too. It's just like Zach was talking about the wind and how the weather conditions were bad. Well, the other quarterback threw for over 200 yards. Don't give me that garbage. The other quarterback has no better receivers than you do. Don't give me that. Don't give me that. I don't want to hear it.
Maybe he lost money on Bobby Hill's soccer team, and that's what he was talking about.
He honestly has to go, and I don't think you can bench him. I think you actually do have to think about maybe cutting him.
You mean
what?
I don't think you can bench him. I think you have to cut him.
No.
No, they're not going to. I think you should cut him. I think that it's hard to bench him and make him a backup because like it's just hard to do that. But he can't take another snap. He can't.
Yeah, this is a real tough crossroads for Saleh because all the football people say if he lets Zach Wilson start this week, he loses his locker room.
He's going to lose his defense, and he's the defensive coach. He'll lose everything.
That comes from
he can't have the job. Yeah,
those are sort of like the ringing quote today from people that played and were in locker rooms. You know,
well, Tim played tackle football. TV. That's what he's saying they should do. So I mean, he's another one of these just former ex-players who's behind that.
No, but there are seeds being planted everywhere you look in media. Like Zach can't play anymore for this team. Like a change must be made. And the question is whether Saleh will make it. And I don't know. I don't know that he's got the wherewithal to do it. I hope he does. Because if he doesn't, and this goes badly, he will not coach there next year. Douglas will fire him.
Has Saleh met the media today?
I haven't seen it.
I was watching a press
I'm not
conference.
saying that he hasn't.
I don't know if it was from last night. I think it was from last night when he said that Zach is our quarterback. I don't know if that was.
Yeah, he said that last night.
Okay.
But again, I think that was from last night. But again, that's it's not his call to make. So,
all right. Well, let's get to a more festive time. Thanksgiving Day games. Reminder to everyone, especially if you're listening to the audio podcast, because this show will be available on the audio podcast. Rate and review 5 stars in the holiday spirit of things, by the way. But we're going to be live 10 a.m. Eastern time on Thursday morning. So whether you're commuting somewhere, just pull it up on YouTube on your phone. Me, Geoff, Tim, Cam, and Pizzola. Thanksgiving Day Best Bets live. It is what I'm going to guess is my most difficult job ever as a host of a show. Tim, would you agree?
I warned you last night. I said, you have all your work cut out for you, corralling everybody on that show in a relatively short period of time to each give a pick on each game, a best bet. And like, who knows what directions things are going to go. So yeah, you better be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and be very, very prepared to officiate that matchup because you're going to have to be a very good host that day.
I'll only speak when spoken to.
Please. Oh, please. I wish I could say the same thing too, but we both know that's not true.
And I have a hard time cutting Cam off, unlike the rest of you. I just don't know what he's going to say next. I'm very intrigued with what he's going to say.
I used to spend some great American Thanksgivings with Cam. He would be paid to like host at the local sports bar. So they just gave him a mic and during commercials, he'd, give away a jersey or do whatever, but he'd bring all of his characters, like his
Portuguese Joe,
Mike, his Vince Vaughn's, like his whole like orbit would show up at these bars.
Like you said, Geoff or Pat, one of you said All of his friends are like Kramer's friends from Seinfeld.
That line killed me.
It's so perfect.
That line dropped me.
He's like the Cam and his friend just seem like the really sad version of Entourage. Like if you go to Sheila's Joe's and you see Visine Vince there or whatever his name is. I don't know any of these people. I only have caricatures of who they're going to be in my head. But I doubt it's, like Vince and Ian Turtle. It's Visine Vince and Portuguese Joe just losing bets with Cam on Thanksgiving Day football games, but playing the horses on commercial break.
Yeah, no, because this bar had an OTB machine.
Yeah, I know. I know the bar. I've been there. It was right below your office, wasn't it?
It was like half a block down the street, so it was pretty. It was pretty convenient.
Those would have been some epic Thanksgiving.
This is,
good.
I mean, as a Canadian, and all of us being Canadian, Geoff and I working in media for the past 10 or more years, we don't get American holidays off. We are the people that all of the American companies that we work for turn to do all the stuff while they want vacation, let alone not even realizing that Canada has its own Thanksgiving. We don't get that day off, but we also have to work on your holidays as well. But we have turned Canadian or American Thanksgiving, Tim, into probably the most fun football watching day of the year. Like, still, our
100%.
friends to this day are taking work off, probably taking off the next day because we're going to do the shows in the morning, then we're going hard for 12 hours.
It's the best sporting day of the year. I love it. I look forward to it. It's my favorite. It's going to be so much fun. It's always fun. And we got blessed by the schedule fairies with 3 really good games.
All right.
Usually we have trash games that may be one good one. We got 3 good games this year.
Well, we'll see about that. My job is going to be hard on Thursday. Paul's job is going to be even harder with 3 cameras and switching to 3 separate people, trying to get them all to talk and like in sync at the same time. But Paul's day is going to be determined by this first game. Buffalo at Detroit. No idea whether Buffalo went home or not. I wasn't looking at the airfield patterns of any of that stuff. But they're favored by 9 on the road against the Lions. 54 is the over-under. Obviously, Bill's money line is minus 435. We're not going to play that. I kind of like the Lions in this game, Tim.
I don't know. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's Buffalo versus the world. That's what I hear on a daily basis on Twitter. It's Buffalo versus the world. So I don't know how to take this. Isn't it? Don't you agree, Geoff, that everybody is against Buffalo?
Yeah, they shouldn't be doing that.
That the media team is out there saying it's us versus the world.
Yeah, I just thought that was weird. And you guys listen. Can we make something perfectly clear? In the true definition of rivalry, like if I have a one-off tweet spat with something, that's not a rival. Rivals are things that don't go away, that keep bleeding into things. So once you see me that's all.
I think this is the last time you're going to pick a fight with Bill's media.
No, I just thought it's really the verse everybody thing is so it wouldn't be for the Bills. It wouldn't be. I don't think the team that is adored by media, fan bases, the league itself, based on the schedule. Guys, they did the opener. They're on Thanksgiving. I mean, you couldn't have more signals of the league truly in love with this team, and for good reason. I love them. So that's just come on, Bills versus Buffalo, Bills versus everybody. JP Lossman ain't the quarterback anymore.
Well, if he was the quarterback, what do you think they'd be favored by in this game?
If JP Lossman was the quarterback?
Yeah, or Ege Manuel?
Or Trent Edwards? I don't know. I guess.
Hey, T-Ed had them off to a 4-0 start one year. Don't forget that.
Yeah, I was at the game. I think they're 4 or 5-0.
Yeah, and then it was someone on Arizona ruined his life, and he never came back. That was the end of Trent Edwards.
Yeah, they beat the Chargers the week before that Arizona game. Lee Evans caught one on his helmet in the end zone. It was a sick catch.
Was Lee Evans the guy who dropped the pass against the Patriots for the Ravens?
Yes.
That would have got them to the Super Bowl?
Yes.
Was it Lee Evans or Reese
Yes,
Caldwell?
it was Lee Evans for the Ravens in that game.
No,
Then Stover missed that short field goal or whatever his name was. The guy before Tucker missed that super short field goal. Yeah, that all happened.
I mean, nine's
I
a tough number here against Detroit because Detroit's going to run the ball pretty effectively. I don't think they have a chance at really stopping the Bills at this point. But do you think they can put up enough to backdoor it just like Cleveland did?
in theory, you would think that they can, and that could be open the whole game. But then part of you thinks, well, first, I guess the question would be, are guys like Rousseau or Edmonds or like, are they getting anyone back on defense?
I don't think. Paul, have you been paying attention to it? Because I don't think that they are.
I wouldn't expect it. Not on a short week.
All right.
No, I wouldn't either. I like.
You
I
the
like
Bills.
the Buffalo Bills.
Right,
I like the Bills here, though.
Oh God.
Yeah, he's back on
And-
he's back on the Bills now, Paul.
They showed me a little something. I thought, and I said this before the game kicked off yesterday. I thought they were going to have a world of trouble with Cleveland, and just given the circumstances of getting to that game. And yeah, I didn't feel very good for Buffalo. But that was an impressive victory, given the circumstances and getting down early, and they still pulled it off. So I give them a little bit of credit for that. I need to pick them up because I need them to start winning games now. They need to win next week in particular, and they need to win this week. I don't really care, but I am going to tease them down as they are the first end of the Pilgrim Parlay. That's right, partner. We're back. We start this one by taking the Buffalo Bills down to -2.
7-point teaser.
It's a 7-point teaser.
Now, Geoff, if people are new to the show, which thank you all for watching, that when Tim won his Pilgrim Parlay, Geoff, do you recall that it could have been, any game could have been teased any way and it would have won?
Yes, every single game that Thursday middled on the teasers.
All 3 games. So,
Anyway,
Tim,
I think there's, okay, go ahead.
Well, I know you would normally be someone that would account for this, while say a Pizzola would say that's irrelevant to me. But just the fact the Bills being there and playing there and being in that building, like I like those sorts of things. And there's no way, hold on, there's no way they're staying in Detroit. Logistically, getting from Buffalo to Detroit was hell for them. It's such a short, quick flight that there's no reason to not fly the 50 minutes, go home, have your meetings in your meeting rooms. Logistically, it would be a real, based on how quickly everything developed, there's no way they're still in Detroit. They 100% are home, having meetings and practicing at home.
all right, well, I'm going to take Detroit in the +9. Geoff, who are you going to take?
I'm going to take Detroit. But it doesn't count. This is going to be a pure Fienberg special. This is a game where I could almost to steal from that victory Pilgrim Parlay a few years ago. Like, tease both sides of it. Bills down to 2, Detroit up to 16. There, you'll move on to the next
That's the
game.
Fienberg teaser, when you tease both ends of a teaser.
All right, fine. We'll start a Fienberg teaser. That'll be on it. Let's go.
So
See what happens in the next game.
So Buffalo -2 and Detroit +16?
Yeah.
All right. We'll see if we can get the ultimate middle on all of these, and everyone can be a winner on Thanksgiving. So Detroit for everyone, including the coin, except for Tim, who is taking Paul's mighty Buffalo Bills. Giants at Dallas. This game at DraftKings Sportsbook is now up to -9 for the Cowboys. Opened at 8, went to 8.5, now 9. It's probably going to get up to, I'll be curious to see if it crosses 10 or not. 44.5 is the over-under. Giants coming off a loss to the Lions. Cowboys, a horrendous loss in Lambeau, where they were up by 14 in the fourth quarter, and then they laid the absolute smackdown last week against Minnesota. Geoff, it's not good when you're winning by so much in America's Game of the Week that they have to switch to a different game.
I like that. Yeah, I don't love this game. Salvation Army bins all around. Give me Dallas. They're just going to annihilate them, I feel.
What do you make
I
of
completely the opposite, by the way.
I
really like New York in this game. I think New York's very live on the money line. Very live. The world loves Dallas here because Dallas just won that big game. They crushed after a lot of sort of questioning as to whether they even ought to have been favored, et cetera, et cetera. My super lock last week, I was with the world on Dallas. Dallas crushes in Minnesota. It's a fantastic performance. And New York has looked completely placid for 2 weeks in a row. They've got nothing home. And everyone expects Dallas at home in Thanksgiving and probably the most watched regular season game of the season to crush the Giants. No, New York has every chance to break hearts. And even if they don't, it'll be a super close game. In the Pilgrim Parlay, we're taking the New York Giants up to 16. And we're taking the Giants here. And I think they're incredibly live on the money line. And if you trust Dallas, like, you're foolish. You can't quite trust them yet. And this is a tough spot. In division, getting this many points, New York still has 7 wins. Like, you're asking for trouble betting Dallas -9 here or what it becomes. I'm sorry. You just are. You have no one to blame but yourself when they ruin things for you.
How have the Giants fared against good teams this year? I feel like it hasn't been very good.
Well, do we consider Tennessee a good team? Because if so, they beat them.
They beat them in week 1, but there's a lot of that's also 3 months ago at this point. But they played Seattle, they lost. They just played the Lions and they lost. They lost to Dallas earlier. Did they beat Dallas?
They lost to Dallas on a Monday night game in week 3, week 4, something of that nature.
I would feel better if this game was in. Obviously you want teams playing at home. I would prefer teams to. I would just prefer the Giants outside. Now there's no Wendell. The receiving core is even thinner than it was. Your poor guy, your poor keeper, Wendell Robinson, out for the year, Tim.
Yeah, he did what he needed to do though for my team. They beat the Ravens. We think the Ravens are a good team. They beat the Ravens. They beat the Packers. They kept the Bears to 12 points. They beat the Titans. They're not. They are 7-3, but they're not a 7-3 football team. But I still have questions about the way Dak is. That was the first really great Dak game we've seen. The short turnaround week for him to play again like that, and just the whole world is going to be on Dallas. There are going to be so few people that want to take New York here. It's going to be very difficult to convince yourself, but Dallas has a way of messing up this game over and over again, and the Giants are a foil for them, and I just love New York here. You cannot talk me out of it. I love the Giants here. The Giants could be a weekly super lock. They're not going to be, because I'll make that on the Tuesday show, but New York would be in short competition for that.
All right, I'm going to go with you here. I'm going to take the Giants. I'm going to tail along with you. Oh, USA is not even winning anymore in this game.
No, they're not. The Welsh had a penalty kick that Gareth Bale buried in the back of the net.
I just really hope Wales wins.
There's 9 minutes of injury time in this game.
So I didn't watch I saw that when you said you picked Iran to win this morning, and then their goalie had a seizure for half an hour. How much injury time was on that?
14 minutes of injury time they provided. I'd never seen that much time before. Not that I watch a lot of soccer, mind you, but it was 14 minutes of injury time.
Fun. All right,
stop the clock. Stop the clock. What are you doing? If it's going to be 14 minutes, stop the clock.
Or let the guy with the concussion get off the field?
Well, that was terrible.
Yeah, but how is...
They waited 14 minutes, then they let him stay in the game. And then 3 minutes later, the poor fellow was on the ground. What a shameful performance that was.
I know it's arbitrary how they add the clock minutes at the end, but that's no more or less arbitrary than our dad spotting the football all Sunday.
I suppose that's true.
When a punt goes out of bounds, they are guessing where to mark that ball. That is a pure guess. When it goes out of bounds in the air, that's a pure guess.
Yeah, when my dad is running, trying to keep up with T. Higgins, he's guessing where the ball is when his knee goes down, okay?
Couldn't we just put a chip in isn't there already a chip in the ball that could tell us all this information?
You would think so, but if that were the case, then how would Robert Saleh challenge every single 1-yard play every week?
That's a really weird thing that he does.
He can't stop it. He doesn't. It's we might get this extra half yard. Better challenge.
At least this week, there was a big value on the first downs that the Jets were getting. They came at a premium this week. So if you could challenge,
that was early in the game before we knew that.
No, I understand that, but the 1-2 weeks ago, didn't even make any sense. It was it would have been second and a half an inch or something like that. So now we need to challenge. He didn't get it.
They don't know what they're doing.
You know what we forgot to talk about on the recap of that was Elijah Moore just randomly running out of bounds at the end of the game, just like Deion Jackson did in the Colts game when they were trying to do the lateral play. He's like, I'll just take I'll just take it out of bounds. Don't worry about it.
No sense. Yeah, you would think a good team would spend, I don't know, 20 minutes every week practicing a final play of the game. Considering the leverage on a play like that, if it ever works, practice it once a week, twice a week, just so that people aren't just guessing. I don't know. It's stuff that the good coaches think about these sorts of things. Like, you don't spend a lot of time on it, but you think about it a little. You can be sure that Jeff Saturday has never thought about it once.
Geoff, are any legs of this game going on the Fienberg teaser?
Yeah, sure. Dallas -2.
Okay, Dallas -2. Oh, his teaser is going to be worth more than your teaser, Tim.
That's fine. We're here to win for the people. That's what my friend John Wayne would say. Except that's me. So me.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go to the midway point of the show. We're even probably past the midway point of the show, trying to get some extra content out to the people, which means it's time for a Cust Corner mini.
Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. He's got the hottest takes with the highest stakes. He should be president of the United States, but it's Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner,
So you solicited my opinion on the best Thanksgiving movies of all time. And as I suspected,
there weren't many.
I had to work. There are some, but I had to work at it.
I can only think of two.
So
like,
I had to think
three.
about it and do some research.
There's three that I can think of, and they would be like 1, 2, 3, and like one of them is just a good movie. It's not really a good Thanksgiving movie. It's The Ice Storm. But like the only two that pop into my mind are Planes, Trains, and Automobile and Son-in-Law.
So number one is Planes, Trains, and Automobile.
Geoff, are you a big Son-in-Law fan?
Anything from the Pauly Shore catalog will make me giggle like I'm 11, for sure.
Because you watched it when you were like 6 years old.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't really developed when I watched it, and it is all funny, but yeah. It's like the complete opposite of when you were like 11 watching like Quentin Tarantino movies, like a Pulp Fiction around your cousins and trying to like think you knew what was cool. Then you got to watch it again later and all the themes make so much more sense. Son-in-Law, like Pauly Shore catalog, is the complete opposite effect when you try to watch it again later.
Sorry, buddy. I think Son-in-Law probably is his best movie, although I'm prone to Biodome. But I think like if you're just trying to say, hey, did Pauly Shore ever make a good movie? It's probably Son-in-Law.
Biodome, In the Army Now, Jury Duty.
At the beginning of Jury Duty.
Encino Man.
Encino Man's pretty good, but the beginning of Jury Duty, Pauly Shore is a male stripper that pours milk on himself and calls himself the Cream Machine. And it had the Babe from Wayne's World in it.
Yeah, Tia Carrera.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's great.
Yeah.
Great Babe. Great Babe in True Lies too.
Great early 90s Babe for sure.
Yeah, I wish she would have stuck around. I don't know what she's up to these days.
She did one of those like
she was in Relic Hunter. That TV
Relic
show.
Hunter and some that's probably what I was thinking.
Yeah,
and some other things.
So Tim, this is tough because Planes, Trains, and Automobile is clearly number one.
Yes, it is clearly number one. Then there's a gap. Number two is The Big Chill. That takes place over Thanksgiving.
Oh, does it?
That is totally a fantastic movie. And it's prescient because Michigan is going to beat Ohio State this weekend. So watch it and enjoy. That's a great movie. It takes place over Thanksgiving. So it is number two. Number three is Rocky. That very famous scene where they throw the turkey out of the house when they're in that, they're fighting. So there's an important scene that takes place over Thanksgiving. So you see, we're already stretching here, but that lets me put Rocky at 3. Number 4, I get to put the movie Prisoners. I liked that movie.
I like that movie.
Jackman.
I like that
Jake
movie
Gyllenhaal.
too. Does that take place at Thanksgiving?
Yes, she gets abducted on Thanksgiving. They're actually going over to somebody's house on Thanksgiving. There's a clip of like a Houston Texans Detroit Lions. How I remember this, I have no idea. There's like a clip of there's video footage of the Texans Lions football game on that happened on an actual Thanksgiving. That movie happens during like the Thanksgiving weekend. So that's number 4. And then at number 5, I chose Grumpy Old Men, because that also, the pivotal scene takes place over Thanksgiving. And I'm in that as Walter Matthau. I think it's one of my funniest movies that I ever made. And I agree. Jack Lemmon was in funnier movies. That's for sure. I was in better ones. But that was probably my funniest performance, was Grumpy Old Men. That's a great movie. Hilarious movie. So that's number 5.
Based on the qualifications to make it a Thanksgiving movie, it needs like very little reference. Like you're talking about throwing the turkey out of the
There has to be a
window.
pivotal scene that somehow involves Thanksgiving, or it takes place over Thanksgiving weekend, or it's about Thanksgiving. Like
Wedding Crashers, when they're playing like family football, is that not Thanksgiving?
Oh, is it?
Is it explicitly Thanksgiving?
I don't know. But
I mean,
You can see that my criteria is pretty threadbare. So if there's like a legit, real scene that Thanksgiving is woven into, I think you can put it on the list.
Is it that warm in Maryland on Thanksgiving when they're playing football with sack lunch?
Yeah, I guess. And I don't know. Is family football like a thing beyond? Maybe it is.
Yeah. So there's a few other ones I wrote down, Son-in-Law being one of them, which would be inside my top 5. How do you feel about the Terrence Malick classic, The New World, Tim?
I didn't see that movie.
Well, it's a pretty good movie, but it's about like how Thanksgiving has started. It's between like John Smith and Pocahontas.
I didn't see that movie, so
Okay.
I don't have an opinion.
So The Ice Storm would be the other one for me. A movie I very much enjoy. An Ang Lee classic from the early 90s, but Geoff left. All right, so that wasn't a good Cust Corner, as we can see. Bye-bye!
Well, look. Yeah. The thing is, and it's interesting. I don't know why. Given that Thanksgiving is like as big a holiday, if not bigger, than Christmas in the United States, why is it that there are just like such a dearth of Thanksgiving movies?
I think
do people not want to go to the movies on Thanksgiving? Like, why are there no good things? It doesn't make any sense as to why Thanksgiving is so bereft of good films, whereas Christmas has so many, or Halloween have so many.
I think it's because people don't go to the movies. Maybe they do. I'd have to look into the box office numbers of it, but I would guess that's probably not a big Thanksgiving thing to do, is go to the movies. Where at Christmas time, like, you're killing time at Christmas.
That's understandable. So I mean, maybe that's the reason. But just why isn't? It seems weird that there's such a disparity. Not just a little gap; it's a huge gap.
Do you have any other? Oh, according to this list, Paul Blart Mall Cop is a Thanksgiving movie. Apparently another Geoff classic. Yeah,
What a terrible movie.
Like, even to look, I'm just looking at this list right now of best Thanksgiving movies, just the first one I clicked on, and like they're stretching anything. Like, they have Chicken Run on the list because it has
Chicken Run,
because it has turkeys in the background.
That was like the high point of claymation, which I always thought was really cool. And I don't understand why they got rid of claymation. Like, I was into it.
Wasn't
like, remember that movie? It was the TV show that Eddie Murphy used to do. The PJs. That was a very funny television show. That was all claymation. And I can't imagine claymation's that hard to do. I liked Mr. Bill on Saturday Night Live. That was all claymation. I really think claymation needs to make a comeback.
Okay, well, we'll see about that. The Last Waltz is another one that they're calling because it was filmed on Thanksgiving Day.
That was filmed on Thanksgiving night. You're right about it. Most years I go to a reenactment of that entire album, start to finish, and I think I'm going to again this year, in a few weeks. And my goodness, that might be a top 3 soundtrack of all time, maybe even higher.
I mean, everyone likes that Talking Heads documentary from the late 80s, but I contend, I mean, I've never seen that, so I really can't go in on it, but The Last Waltz is the best like music documentary I've ever seen.
Well, legit one. I can think of one mockumentary.
Well, yes. Spinal Tap, yes, is better. It does. Geoff, how close is Purim to Thanksgiving?
I don't know.
It's just because there's that Home for Purim movie.
Yeah.
No, I think Purim is in the spring.
Oh,
is it?
I could be wrong. I don't have a clue, man.
All right. Well, do you think that Neil Young holds the record for most coke done on a Thanksgiving? As evidenced by that movie when it's still hanging out of his nose?
That's terrible. Just terrible.
Ask Cam these questions.
What's that?
You should ask Cam your Neil Young question.
Does he love Neil Young?
Yeah, he does.
Has he met Neil Young?
I don't have a clue.
Has he done blow with Neil Young?
Cam's got a million stories. If that was on the bingo card, I wouldn't be shocked, but it does seem unlikely. More like Neil Young tribute band.
I'm just relieved, Geoff, you came back. I was afraid you had disappeared.
Yeah, Pizzola showed up to your house and made you an unperson.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Tim takes some, calls out Cam a couple times, and all of a sudden,
One time, I didn't call out anyone. All I said was it's funny that they're getting better numbers than we're getting. And that turned into like this fight of like I said on the show last night, I'm waving the white flag. There's no fight from me.
I don't know why they're so mad at you.
I don't know.
I don't think you want to piss off Woodbridge Rob, though. He comes from the Pizzola family. All right, let's get to the last game. New England at Minnesota. Does Minnesota rebound in a big way here? Because although everyone just kind of like laughs at the Vikings, like they're not very good. They're wildly overrated. Feels like they're a lot better than the Patriots, who are not good.
I think the Patriots' defense is serious.
Sure.
I mean, they shut the Lions out. They basically kept the Colts to 3 points. They kept the Jets to 3 points. None of these offenses like the world on fire by any means, but like, there's one thing to hold a team to a field goal or less, and there's another to let them up 17. So I think the Patriots defense is top tier. I'm taking the Patriots here, and I'm teasing the Patriots up. Last leg of the Pilgrim Parlay. I think they're going to win this game. And I don't know. I don't know if I see a lot more losses on the Patriots schedule, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Oh, so yeah, putting the curse on them. The coin is going to go with you and take New England as well. I think that Minnesota might just roll here, Geoff. I do worry about primetime Kirk, though.
Yeah, I think I'm going to step in front of Minnesota after a horrible loss. That I don't want to overthink or underthink, but it just that zigzag last week just screamed. It just screamed, and it couldn't have turned out any better with how Minnesota won versus Buffalo and Dallas loses versus Green Bay and their match this week. Give me Minnesota. I think that they will trust their quarterback to attempt to make throws, and they won't just turtle a game away to the Patriots. Minnesota at home on Thanksgiving could be real money.
Okay. So are any of these games in Super Lock contention for any of you? Because they're not for me.
Only the Giants are close-ish for me.
It seems like you like the Vikings, though, Geoff.
Yeah, I don't think it'd actually be a super lock. It's a bit of a weird spot.
Like the under in this game. I will say that.
Oh, so bet
Tim, did you see that picture of
41.5?
90-year-old Jets fan going around yesterday in all his regalia at the game?
Yes.
I thought that was a woman.
Maybe it was.
I thought it was an old grandma. Was it not?
These are the hearts that Zach is breaking every game. And he doesn't even have the responsibility to stand up at the mic like Josh Allen does and say, I played terribly.
And it's funny because Josh Allen cost him that game, but he didn't play terribly like Zach Wilson played terribly.
No, but at least he was an adult and took the responsibility upon himself and said, we lost because of me. That's what grown-ups do. That's what a professional athlete does. They don't stand there with their arms crossed and say, no, I didn't do anything wrong. I played great.
Zach Wilson
put down your iPod and go actually go work out and work out with your receivers and get your timing down and play better.
It is so crazy. I get it. We've seen Belichick do great things to a lot of young quarterbacks over the years. He's had his way with Herbert, certainly, other than Justin Fields, it seems. But out of a bye, you would have figured there's at least like 8 to 10 plays on script that you can work, like that you've worked on, that you're comfortable with, that even if they show certain personnel, like you're just comfortable with it. It was so weird to see literally nothing out of a bye from an offense. Like it was awkward. It was
yeah, indefensible, speechless.
And that's not to take anything away from how great Belichick is, but that doesn't mean that he should dominate all 70 plays. Like, you're telling me there's not a handful of things that like work for you guys? Weird. That's weird. I don't know. We got our own different reason. We got our sadness is very different, Tim.
I wish I had your sadness. You have a fun offense.
No, because
your defense is bad, but your offense is fun.
Yeah, no, the Chargers are the king of like, yeah, we'll entertain you and we'll like break your heart.
You think that was entertaining for me to watch yesterday?
No, but I take offense. Like, you're crying last night. You're saying like this was supposed to be our year.
It was supposed to be our year.
No, it was supposed to be my year.
Okay, but then by like week 4, it was clear. By week 5, it was clear this was going to be my year. And maybe it wasn't going to be your year or
by week 3. You're right. By week 3, I said it's not my year.
Yeah.
I reneged on everything.
Going into the season,
Right.
Going into the season, you're right that it wasn't my year. It was your year. But by about week 5, it was clear that it was going to be my year, and this is being stolen from me. My team hasn't been in the playoffs in 12 years, and I wasn't. And again, we set the record straight. There was no crying last night. I was expressing genuine frustration at that performance and the inability to take responsibility. Because if you don't take responsibility, you don't think you did anything wrong. I can't even begin to imagine how much Chicago is going to win by. I'm certain now. Chicago is going to win by 1 million on Sunday. I'm so convinced of it. We have no hope.
So this is your routine. You did this after the last Patriots game. Then you beat the Bills. Then you come in flying, stealing your daddy's reservations. And now you play bad again versus the Patriots, and it's woe is me, cry
bad.
for me,
bad.
Bad.
Like, they averaged 2 inches of play in the second half, Geoff.
Yeah, I told you to go to Streveler and just run some wingtip or whatever they do at Army.
I would take it. Honestly, if you, Geoff Fienberg, took every snap in the first and the second half yesterday, you would not have done worse.
Oh, God.
Than Zach Wilson did.
What, I'm just supposed to fall forward?
Tim.
It's true. If you did, we couldn't have done worse.
By falling forward.
Exactly. Then if we get 3 yards, we've already more or less got a better opportunity, have a better half.
It must be so debilitating for you to watch your offense struggling because you sit there on the couch knowing, give me the ball 3 times, I get us the first down.
You're damn right.
There is, now that you've cursed the poor Bears this week, which I'm very happy about because I could use them to lose for my 5.5 to stick through. There's, in the same report, it says that they're feeling better about Justin Fields today than they did on Sunday night. And he's day-to-day with a shoulder injury, but they haven't ruled out that he'll be out for the year yet.
Really?
I don't know what that means.
I mean, if it's an injury that requires, like, a 3-week IR stint, there's no point in bringing him back, I guess.
Well, they have a bye week coming up. I'm pretty sure. Let's see here. They play the Jets. They play the Jets this week, and then they play the Packers the week after. Then they're on bye. So you can set out Jets and Packers bye week, bring them back after that.
I mean, what a great spot it would be if Chicago could be 3-14, 4-12, actually have the second pick, not be in the market for a quarterback, and be able to trade that pick to a team who desperately needs a quarterback for a king's ransom.
Like the Jets?
I'd pay any price.
Any price?
I think I'd pay any price at this point.
Well, let's work out some fake trades here then. If you think that Aaron Rodgers is available, what is the maximum you would be willing to give up for Aaron Rodgers?
3 first-round picks.
Three first-round picks.
Bro, it's dead. Like, the one thing Rodgers did this year for the Packers is sink his trade value. That Russell Wilson trade does not exist next year for Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, yes, it does. This league is full of stupid teams that make the same mistakes year after year after year and learn nothing. Russell Wilson would command probably a first-round pick right now if you tried to trade him.
Sure, for
People
a first round
will
pick.
pay it. He probably would go for almost exactly the same amount. People don't learn from their mistakes. They just make them over and over again.
Okay. How much money would you give to Jimmy G? What's the contract look like?
I'd give him a really, really front-loaded guaranteed contract for like 3 years, and the first 2 years are like crazy amounts of money.
Like the Kirk Cousins contract.
Yeah. I like a 3. You can even make it a 4-year deal if you want, but like the first 2 years are crazy expensive and very cap heavy and guaranteed
Would you make Lamar the highest paid quarterback in football?
without even blinking.
What about
Without even blinking.
Would you rather have
So
Jimmy
what would
G or
you
Derek
trade
Carr?
to Baltimore to then go give Lamar like $400 million?
How many first-round picks am I allowed to trade?
Okay.
Like, what's the cap? Like, you know, in basketball, you're only allowed to trade so many years ahead. How many years ahead can I trade picks? Because Lamar is worth it.
What about, what's that guy's name? Bryce Perkins? What if you get him next year?
Perkins looked so good. Yeah, I'll tell you right now. Chiefs let down. If Perkins plays next week, that's I told you this on the live show. The same logic that led you to take Malik Willis against the Chiefs is the same one I would take to take Perkins against the Chiefs.
What if John Walford's back?
I do like John Walford, but Perkins looked. I'd like to see what you got in him. He seemed like he had some very interesting abilities.
Would you not be one of the top Super Bowl favorites if you had Tua?
Yes,
I don't think so.
We'd be one of the top Super Bowl favorites if we had
Derek Carr?
Kyler Heineke.
I don't know about that. Stop that.
Yes, he's got the Commanders to 6-5.
Yeah, but you also picked them to go unders. They're also riding the wave of the curse.
He's got the Commanders at 6-5, and they don't have near the talent we do.
But their defense is pretty good.
It's not as good as ours.
Let's see.
And their offense doesn't.
They're about on the level. You have the Jets' 3rd DVOA defense, Washington 6.
And they have Terry McLaurin. You don't have anybody who's as good as Terry McLaurin right now.
Garrett Wilson.
Is he good? Is Garrett Wilson good? He had 2 good
not
games. Elijah Moore had these games last year. Apparently, he sucks.
Well, there's problems there. That offense just needs a fresh start, is what it needs. It needs a tear down and a fresh start.
Okay, well, that's the Thanksgiving episode. Promise that Tuesday nights will be better when we do the full slate of games. I'm sorry for pigeonholing you with that Cust Corner idea. I didn't realize there were so few Thanksgiving movies. I thought there'd be like hundreds of them.
There really aren't.
Maybe
I got a good topic for tomorrow. I already sort of previewed it slightly with Paul, but I didn't give away the conceit. I got a pretty good corner topic for tomorrow, I think.
All right, Geoff, anything final?
Although that never works out. When I think corner topics are bad, those are the best ones. And when I think they're good, they're never good. So maybe it won't be good. Like, I didn't think people would care a whit about garbage can issues.
It became
even though I won the ice poll.
You won the poll with your 4.3%?
It rounded up to 5%. That's a victory.
Paul.
Based on the inconsistency that Top Cat has in life, his take on this thing just doesn't really mesh with it, so I think we'll have a good time.
Oh, so it's like something that's not outrageous?
Well, it's just like
This is all good SEO.
Let's just leave it as a tease.
All right. I don't know what it is, so now I'm excited. Geoff, how about you go take some medicine and you feel better, okay?
Yeah, I got medicine. I got screaming children outside the door. Exciting, fun evening here.
All right, well, you turn off the lights and pretend like we're still doing the show, and that way you can get away from your kids.
Oh, I've done that. I've done that before, Pat. I've done that before.
That doesn't work for me.
I'll just sit in here a few extra because sometimes we go so long, so it's kind of hard to even milk it. But I'll just sit in here after and enjoy the peace and quiet. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow, and I'm fired up for Thursday morning, friends.
Yes, and all the regular shows will be at the regular time. Obviously, this is a bonus show, so if you appreciate bonus shows that aren't behind some stupid paywall or anything like that, leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. 5 stars, please, and thank you. Want to thank me for shelling out the time in order to do this show for all of you. Additionally, Tim Andergust!
Tim Andergust.
Not my name.
I feel like you would love Thanksgiving if you were American.
I think I probably would. I like Thanksgiving as a Canadian, so I think I'd love it even more as an American.
Yeah, there's no pressure for you to do anything on Thanksgiving. You know what I mean?
I just would enjoy the extra super long weekend.
It is a super.
It's a great time of year. It's a very dark time of year. It's great. So,
does anyone work on the Friday? Like, I know some people do, obviously, but like most people take that off, don't they?
unless you work in retail, it's your biggest day of the year.
Is it still the biggest day of the year? Or do people just go on to Amazon Black Friday?
I don't know. But that's Cyber Monday is their big day, right?
I think they do both.
I don't know.
No, you don't use the Amazon, so how would you know?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't go to the Amazons.
Okay. Well, that will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Play in both of the Listeners League, but let's get the Thanksgiving Day 1 filled. Again, 10 a.m. Eastern Time on Thanksgiving. We'll be live on Mayo Media Network, and directly following that, boom, the Best Bet Show for the week will actually come out. So if you need content to keep you sane over the Thanksgiving weekend, to get away from your family, we got you covered both on the Pat Mayo Experience and at Mayo Media Network. Thank you all for watching. I'm Pat Mayo. We'll see you next time.
Mayo Experience! Experience!